Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I recently went to Cuba earlier this month and it was just one of the most incredible experiences of my life. You guys, Cuba is everything. Like when I tell you, it's just one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I feel like it's sort of a hot spot right now too. Everybody's going to Cuba. So I figured why not share my experience and show you guys some tips so it could hopefully help you when you plan your trip to Cuba, which you definitely should because Cuba, like I said, is everything. Tip number 1, where to stay in Cuba. So I stayed at an Airbnb. I think that Airbnbs are your best bet when you're in Cuba. A lot of the Airbnbs, they'll have that I sign, which I think stands for immigrant welcome. And it's just such a better experience. You get more of that. You get more experience for the Cuban people, you know what I mean? Like they cooked breakfast for us. A lot of them also speak English, and if they don't speak English, they'll bring someone in that will help translate. I think that staying at an Airbnb is the best, but Cuba also offers hotels. Tip number 2, international currency exchange. So I would recommend that you may want to change your money to another foreign currency like euros or Canadian dollars because you may get more money exchanged depending on the rates. So keep in mind, $1 equals 1 kuk, which is the currency they use in Cuba. However, you still have to pay an exchange tax of about 10%. So $1 will actually in return give you 0.87 kuks. So it's just something to keep in mind. Tip number 3, find a Facebook page that is dedicated solely to people who travel to Cuba. There are so many Facebook pages like this, and I came across one that was so helpful. It literally told me what to bring to Cuba, where to go in Cuba, where to eat, who Airbnbs to stay in. They even have like recommendations on where to stay in these like Facebook pages, and it'll give you a whole bunch of touristic things to do. Tip number, 4? So I know we're all trying to be cute. I get it, but don't bring your high heels, girl. Leave them at home. You're gonna be walking a lot in Cuba, so Which brings me to tip number 5. How to know where you're going in Cuba. So my sister downloaded this really cool app. It's called maps.me, and it kind of works like a Google Maps. It works offline, and you just plug in the directions and it'll give you a map and it'll show you if you're going the right way and how long in the distance. So that was really helpful. Tip number 6. We didn't walk the whole time, you guys. We actually took a few cabs and we took a really cool ride on this classic car, which was one of the best nights in Cuba. Our tour guide, he was super sweet. He was so friendly. He showed us so much of Havana, and he just like, you could just tell like he loved his country so much. It was such a great night. And we found him on that Facebook page I was telling you guys about. So find a Facebook page with Cuba tips. Tip number 7, what's the Wi-Fi situation? What happened with the Wi-Fi, right? That's what we want to know. Well, you guys shouldn't, because you should disconnect. You're in Cuba. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I logged in for like about an hour, 2 days, and I was good. You can go to hotels and get a card, and you can have internet for like an hour or however long you want to pay, but I kind of liked that there wasn't any Wi-Fi situation going on because I felt like more connected there, So I know that Havana is like the place that people think of the most when they think of Cuba. It's the city, it's the capital, but I recommend you visiting other parts of Cuba. The country is just such a big country and there's so much to explore that I think that just staying in Havana, you're just cheating yourself. We went to Vinales and it was just such a different experience. We got to do things that we wouldn't be able to do in Havana, like ride horses. We went to the cigar fields. We met even more incredible Cuban people. It was just so worth it, and I'm so glad that we decided to stay in 2 places. And not to mention, the food was one of the best foods we had the whole trip, so definitely worth it. For my last tip is basically just go with an open mind. Cuba is a very special place. It's like no other place you'll probably go to. The people there, it's really, a lot of them, it's all they know. They're very prideful of their country. They are the nicest people I've ever met in my life. They love when you embrace their culture, so just embrace the culture of Cuba, have an amazing time, and just enjoy it because it's a trip of a lifetime. So that is it for my Cuba traveling tips. I really hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to share your experience to Cuba, or if you have any other tips, leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video.